Okay, now we got it. So we're all set now.
Okay, welcome to Positivity is the Way to Go. He has a new album and he is a miraculous stroke recovery. Welcome my guest today, Jay Thompson. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. They
We've
call me
been
JL, the music man in the business. They don't know.
Oh, okay. So Jay is that's your real name, right? But Jill is your rapper name, right?
Well, it's the initials on my extended name. So it JL becomes you just spell it out and you come up with that name. That's what you do.
Yeah, so did I tell you I met Steve Wilkos last Friday in River Forest?
Did you tell me what?
I met Steve Wilkos last Friday.
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. You remember the Jerry Springer show when he was security? He got his own show now.
No, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, that was the first time I met him. He a good guy.
That's good. Well, listen, I've got something I could do here. Just a second.
Okay. All right.
Make myself look better, actually, because I can do
Okay.
um, really quick. There we go.
Okay.
You
Well,
know,
yeah, let's start. Tell me about the stroke or the album or both. What would you like to talk about first?
well, let's start off with the stroke. Then I'll get to the album. Then I'll get to the album. What's really interesting is, but it was almost 7 years ago now. But 6.5 and or 6 and 3/4 years. I had a stroke. And it was like all hell broke loose because I was not expected to live. They didn't expect me to go on. The hospital actually refused to take me because I was too high risk. So they built me a hospital room in my front room because I couldn't even move around my house to get into anything. And so I was lost. I didn't have a way of recuperating, and I spent uh, uh, about 2 years, I guess, getting out of that. And then I came back on. I was going along just great. I started to record albums again. I started to do stuff, and I was doing great. And then this year happened. I was like, I was almost at the end of 5 years, and then boom, I had 2 months to go, and I got another stroke. So that was the game was up at that point that right. Oh, okay. It says okay. Whatever's happening here, it doesn't make sense to me, but okay, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
All right, that's good. All right. So anyway, that was a second that happened to me the beginning of this year, around February. So I'm now recovering again, but a little by little. And it didn't seem very severe this time, but it ended up being far more serious because it's affected everything. It's affected my voice. It's affected my thinking. It's messed me up pretty good. But that was that. So in the meantime, I'm still writing music, still doing everything that I've done for years and years. I've got over 3,000 songs, so it's not like I've slowed down at all. Uh, um, it's just that I have to be careful about releasing everything I want to say, which brings me to the point of why we're here today. I guess we've had a lot of talks, and I wrote you a song. I actually wrote that song about positivity is the way to go. I've got it in here someplace. I don't know how to play it for you right now. Go. All right. I'm gonna try something here. Just
Okay.
Let's see if I can do this. Um,
That's gonna be my new theme song, right?
yeah, yeah, that's the idea. I mean, I wanted to do something for you that would work. So let me just I'm just gonna check it out, see how far I can get in.
You a cool dude, JR, man. But you in Canada, you really far, man.
Well, Canada, it's actually not very far. You know what? We've only got about probably 5 hours of drive time difference between you in Chicago and me here. It's not very far.
You gonna come to Chicago one day, right, Daryl?
I do all the time. I used to
Okay.
anyway. I have actually haven't done it for 7 years. That's been the time I've been sick. I've stopped traveling. I stopped getting out. Before that, it was all over the map. I could go everywhere. I was flying one time into LA. I was sitting with you probably know these guys like Lionel Richie from um, I can't remember that. Oh, the
We
comedy.
are the world. We are the world.
Yeah, that's the guy. Anyway, so we shared we shared a set of seats in the first class cabin going into LA back when I'd only done like 1,200 songs. And he was impressed. He thought it was really good. And I thought I was pretty much a guy who was missing it all the time, missing it. And he kept saying, no, you are it. You're not missing anything. I thought it was pretty impressive for me to get to know him on that basis. So
That's cool, man. Cool story.
yeah, yeah, it's a good one. Anyway, yeah, I didn't know who I was going to sit with. Right, I came in, I was moving into the first class area, and I looked, I kind of knew the guy. I kind of like I try to think, who is this? I can't think of his name, but I knew who he was. And then I realized who he was, and then that was it. So we had a good time.
Yeah, so tell us about some of your obstacles that you have faced.
Well, the very first obstacle, of course, after the stroke, um, the very first obstacle was being able to do anything, to move at all. I couldn't stand up, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. And now, of course, I'm doing most of it. And it even after the second one, I didn't have the big problem that other people thought I would. The people grabbed immediately. They grabbed my license. They told me I can't drive anymore. I got to do all kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of things going on that normal people don't put up with. But I can't do what I can't do. So I just let it be as God decides. I let it be. It's just fine.
Yeah. Why do you feel this is important?
Well, I always felt like you know, God allows us to experience what we experience. It's not in our control all the time to tell God how we want our lives to go. We have to accept that there are certain things we do not understand about how things go and how to get you got to wrap your mind around some things that otherwise what could you say? I mean, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people are unaware of your past. What happened, like to people that don't know about your past?
Yeah, well, there's an awful lot to talk about there. Uh, you know, I was a beginning Jesus musician. I knew early that this was the way I was going to experience music, and I really pitched in. I did this. I really did this hard. I really had to find out not only what it was like to believe in Christ, because that was the first thing, to come up with my own position of where I was going and how it was going to be in the end. But the reality is a little bit different for me because I was raised as a Christian. My parents were godly people. Um, I appreciated that very much. But when I got old enough, I decided I was going to go my own way and do the things that everybody else does. And, you know, I had some very bad backslidden moments, let's put it that way. Everybody looks at you and says, well, you always had it together. You could do this, you could do that. And I could. I mean, I met people, the people that I met on the road, you know, even not even being actually introduced, like Eric Clapton one time was on the same uh, plane I was, and I knew where he was the whole time. I saw him getting on board, but I never actually introduced myself. I didn't go up to him or anything. He was just there. Mitch Ryder, the Detroit Wheels, they were on the plane with me. So was but and then there's people that I did know, people that I got a chance to go see, people like Paul McCartney. Um, these are people I met not because I did anything special, but because I happened to be there and they needed something done, and I was part of it. One time I went to the first time I met Paul McCartney was in the studio because I went to talk to his drummer about forming a Christian band, and he eventually, his name was Joe English. He was working on the live album, the live album by Paul McCartney and the Wings, and you can see that was 1976, about, I think, somewhere in there, and that was a you know that was a big band for a while. Then he eventually got out of music, stayed right away from it, said, okay, we don't need that. But he did 3 albums in the Christian music field too. So those are things that happen. And then later on, I'm in LA, and somebody needs to get Paul McCartney from the airport. So I volunteered, and I ended up doing that. And he came in to just cut the ribbon on remaking the Hollywood Walk of Fame with the stars in there, and so they were opening a part of that, um, just redoing it. So it was nice, and that would have been what, 1996, 97, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I was born 1997, so I don't even remember those times.
Yeah. And you don't have to know about all of it. You just you know. But anyway, that was the second time I met him. So like I'd known him for a couple of times, but that was that those are things that happen, and they happen to you no matter who you are, what you're doing. I would say that Paul doesn't know me as a musician at all. He doesn't know me that way, but he did know me enough to flip me a tape that he was working on in the studio. I own it. I have it in my office here somewhere. I have to dig it out, but uh, I still have a couple of pieces of things he was working on that didn't show up on any of the albums.
That sounds cool. You make no bones about your faith, but most of your audience do not believe. What makes you relevant to them?
That's a really interesting question. I don't know. I think what really happens is that I have not decided to be a religious guy. I mean, my early stages was real religious because it was real all about Jesus music, right? And then I went through this transition where I wrote a lot of stuff that everybody sort of fit in with. It just sort of was good stuff, and there was a lot up there. Now, after that, when I finally settled down into everything, I came to a point of understanding now how God worked in everything that you do. And so I will often comment on things. Let's say I got 12 songs on a record, on an album. 4 of them might mention God, but there'll be 6 of them that don't, or 8 of them, whatever. They won't talk about God. And not that they don't mean anything, and not that they don't have any significance. That's the reason I wrote them, is they have significance. They are things that we go through, but we don't go through them to be religious. We're going through them just to go through them. And God impacts us. He begins to show us the different things he can do that really make a difference to us. And I think if I point them out, it becomes important for everybody to know.
Yeah, well said, Joe. How has God changed your life, and what would you say to people that don't believe and why they should believe?
Um, Let me say this really clearly. People are not uh, up to themselves to come up to some idea of God or blessing, but people are given an option by God to respond to what he does. So he's about doing stuff. He's going to reach out. He's going to say to people, I'm doing this. I want you to believe. You have a choice. You can say yes or you can say no. You can't say both. And that's the reality. You can't say both. And because they can't say both, they're either going to choose heaven or they're going to choose hell. It doesn't work any other way. And that's it. I don't think that my telling people about it is such a big, um, huge thing to make people believe, but it's a good opportunity to make people make a decision to choose something. That's very important that we get the opportunity. So I simply point it out and say, here it is. This is what God says. Do you believe it? And then wait for them to respond. And if they do, they do. And if they don't, they don't. It's not up to me to convince them to become Christians. My job is to simply explain this is what Jesus did, this is what he expects, and he wants you to come to him. And then we're all done.
Yeah, and what could you do to change the world? If you could do anything, what would you do? What can we do to change the world? I mean,
Well, you know,
you can answer both questions.
well, here's the bottom line. Okay. Um, I can simply present what God does, and that does everything that needs to be done. It doesn't do anything more than that. It simply does what God wants done. It doesn't, I don't get the chance to play God. I don't get to say I'm going to do this and it's going to make this difference and I'm going to do that and this is how it's going to be. Those things are not that important. What's really important is, did we listen? Did we hear what God has done? Have we accepted it? That's it. Now, when you ask, what can you do to change things? Just make sure people hear that. If they hear it, they hear it. And I'm done.
man, you got a lot of insight, Gerald, man. Because they was talking about at church, they was talking about the seasoned saints, man. So you like a spiritual father to me, Gerald.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. They was talking about Joseph. How great God is that He planted Jesus inside Mary womb, and she was a virgin, and she didn't even sleep with nobody at all.
Well,
That's how great He is.
yeah, well, that's kind of true until she got married. But
Yeah.
once she'd been married, she slept with her husband all the time. That's
Yeah. Joseph.
Yeah, right. And
Yeah.
but she hadn't been messing around. She was like 14 when she got pregnant. People don't understand that, but she was about 14 years of age when the angel came to her and told her this is going to happen. She says, how is this possible? I don't know a man. And the angel said, don't worry, God is going to put it in you. It's not you messing around with anybody, but God is going to do something here.
Yeah, I feel like Joseph a lot of times. I feel like overlooked and stuff, man. I feel like it's a lot of people, mans on earth. We feel like Joseph. We overlook, don't get no acknowledgement. And the thing is, God used Mary. He used her because she was a lowly servant.
Yeah.
But you got the song ready, Gerald?
Well, I was looking for it. Hang on. I was actually still looking for it. Give me 1 second. Uh, it's in this group right here.
Is that like your man cave that you in right now, or that's like your office?
It's my office, but
Oh, your office. Oh, okay, okay.
hang on a second.
You don't got no man cave, right?
Okay, now just a second here. I've been looking.
Because I'll be watching the Dan Patrick show sometimes, and he got stuff all over. Most people would say that's clutter.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just checking something here. It's kind of crazy, but you do things. I don't know how this is going to actually. Oh, wait a second. This idea. Yeah. Um, it's I don't know if I'm going to find this or not. I'm just working on it all the time about what it now. This is called positivity is the way, right? That one.
Yep, 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 yep. That's right. That's correct.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it. That's the thing. Um, Crazy stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna be here all day, it seems.
Yeah, something like that. But we'll get it together real fast. I just I can't imagine what this is. I don't know. This is
So this gonna be my new theme song to my show now, right?
yeah, something like that. We're gonna do it such a way that this is gonna come together for you. All of us, here's the thing. I'm gonna send it to you after the fact. I don't
You want to? Do you know how to edit videos?
edit videos. I can edit them sort of. Actually, it's all messed up right now because I just had a whole thing. Uh, uh, I don't know.
You can edit it in when we done. When you can edit the interview and stuff, if you want to, and then you can edit it in that way.
Yeah, I should, I just saw it the other day, and I thought, oh, I gotta remember to pull that up, but then I forgot where I put it. So that's the thing. Oh well, I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna find it. So what else we got to talk about here?
No, that'd be all. It was a pleasure having you on today, man. Even though we had some technical difficulties with the video and all that stuff.
Okay.
But it was nice to have you on.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it very much. I'm glad you had me. It's uh it's helpful. I'll
You could stop the thing now.
okay. See ya. We'll talk to you on next time. God bless.
All right, God bless you too, man.
Bye bye.